Okay, so I've pre-written some of the things that I'm going to do. One of the most effective options for plotting this particular graph is to actually do it as a transformation, starting with the parent function. So the parent function is log base 10 of x. So if I start with log base 10 of x, well, any log base anything, there's a point here. Remember, natural log of 1 is 0. Log of 1 is always 0, even if it's not natural log. It's always that way. Okay, and then there's an asymptote that way, right here. So the domain is 0 to infinity, and the range is minus infinity to infinity. And why do I care about the domain and range? Well, I see that I'm going to be asked for the domain and range finally, so I may as well track the domain and range always. The next thing is I'm changing the input by +3, so it means it's actually shifting to the left. So I'm going to first of all draw this picture the same, but now my asymptote is in a different place. Instead of the asymptote being at 0, it's going to be at -3. X equals -3 asymptote. And so actually, in order to make the innards equal to 1, then x has to be equal to -2. Okay, so that means, 0 is going to be where? If that's 1 unit, so the 0 is somewhere like that. So I have an axis roughly there. Okay? All right, so the domain for this guy is -3 to infinity, and the range has not been altered. All right, and finally we want to lift by 4, and so this point, so this is still going to be x equals -3, that asymptote, and we're going to lift this guy. So we're not going to be wherever -2 is. This point is going to be at -2, and then it's going to be up 3 is where it's going to, up 4 rather. So this guy is going to be, excuse me, is going to be down like this. And let's see if we have an axis somewhere around here. Now let's see what it asks us. Find the value of f of 1. Aha, so f of 1 over here. Well, let's first see if the domain and range changes. The domain is actually not going to change because we just lifted everything. So it takes the same inputs as it did before. But the range is also the same because we just shifted minus infinity to infinity. If the range had not been minus infinity to infinity, +4 would have caused us to add 4 to each end of the range. But since it was infinity, it's still just the same. Okay, so we are being asked to evaluate this point that's right about there. And it's just going to be 1. Then we're going to have 4 plus log base 10 of 4, whatever it is. It's messy, but it was possible. So it says if it is not possible, indicate why. So we did that. Label, okay, domain and range we got. Label the values of all x-intercepts, and y-intercepts. Okay, so this guy we need to label as 0. 4 plus log base 10 of 3. And that's the only that's the only intercept. Yep, it's the only intercept because this is the y-axis over here. And we have our asymptotes. Yep, there's only one asymptote. There we go. Okay, that's it.